Hello and welcome back to episode 12. Can you believe it? 12 of the Final Whistle and the official Lewiston Tribune sports podcast. I'm Sam Taylor, sports reporter of the Lewiston Tribune and the Moscow Pullman Daily News. And with me is the Trevor Junt. Hello, Trevor.
Hey, Sam. How you doing today?
Pretty good. How are you?
Excited to be here. I'm excited to be done with the World Series, although it was so much fun to cover. But definitely a tiring week, but I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, that's right. We're coming to you from the other side of the NAIA World Series. We'll recap all World Series action, and we would be doing a massive disservice if we did not say the words 59-0. This high up. LSU Shreveport are your 2025 NAIA National Baseball Champions, and they completed a remarkable, unprecedented feat of a perfect season, won 59 straight games, a college baseball record at any level, and yeah, just there's more to that, plenty more to the story. But just, Trevor, how cool was it to not only have your first World Series in Lewiston, but also see that just historic feat from the Pilots?
I mean, what can you call it besides like just perfect history? It's insane. 59-0 is unprecedented for any college. Well, any undefeated season is insane in general, but especially in baseball, dude.
Yeah.
With pitching can struggle one day and you lose the game. The bats may not hit one day and you lose the game. But none of that happened to them. They just stayed perfect the entire season. And seeing history, seeing them win the World Series was just a joyous. It was really fun to watch.
Yeah. Now, obviously, as reporters, we don't root for teams, so to say. Now, there was some personal incentive for us to see Shreveport win, because that means our week would be over on Friday. But beyond that, just the idea of seeing history, like it was the further the week. I mean, we obviously led. They were our cover story. The perfect Pilots. Can they do it? What has it taken for them to get to this point, and what will it take for them to complete a perfect season? And then as the week went on, then they got closer and closer. You kind of wanted to see. I mean, I think everyone wanted to see history. That championship game on Friday had over 2,000 people in attendance. And I think it's exactly what Lewiston needed. Obviously, the Lewis Clark State Warriors, the home team, were not in it for a second straight year. And so there was some worry, are people going to care? Is this going to be a thing that Lewiston can support even without the hometown team? And, sprinkling a little history and a little, something you hadn't seen before. And of course, people are going to show up. Now, people are going to show up to the World Series no matter what. That's kind of what I learned about Lewiston and just the baseball and sports and just the community here in the LC Valley. But obviously having an undefeated team did not hurt the cause at all. But it was just so cool to see that.
Well, first off, to go on your point about just the Valley and loving baseball.
Yeah.
I talked to the Superstars guy, the guy that was in the inflatable costumes, and he was like Dennis Frogman or Mike Rainbow Trout, Kevin Durant Eater. Yeah. Ken Giraffe Jr. But like, talk to that guy. He said, I tried to do crowd work with some of the fans in attendance, but they didn't really want to. They just wanted to lock in and watch baseball. So, I mean, that just shows how much the Valley really loves baseball. Like, when the guys that kind of distracted them trying to like have fun, they're like, no, we want to watch baseball. We're here to watch the World Series. I thought that was a pretty cool note to see there.
It was spectacular. I mean, it was definitely a change of pace from our usual day of, going to a game or two a week, prep game or a college game, and then, spending most of our time in the office. Like in this case, we were spending, every waking hour that we weren't either asleep or, here at the office, towards deadline, we were spending at the ballpark. Mm-hmm. And that was super cool to be at Harris Field, to kind of clock in and clock out and kind of live that life of a beat reporter who's reporting the same venue every single day. Kind of like, a season finale. And it kind of is, honestly, like where you have all these callbacks, all these cast of characters back, some familiar bylines you may have recognized if you've been reading the Tribune for a long time. And so it's just really special. It's awesome. And I guess if we want to talk about Shreveport a little bit, and specifically, just to kind of rattle off some stats to describe just how impressive this 59-0 season was. LSU Shreveport is the first team at any level of college baseball to have a undefeated perfect season and win a championship. Their 59 consecutive victories are the longest winning streak at any level of college baseball, surpassing the 2009 Howard College Hawks of Texas, who won 57 straight games to claim the National Junior College Championship that year. And that wasn't even a perfect season. I had looked in, I was under the impression that it was, but I had written it in a way that didn't describe it. But I was doing some research and I found out that, they played 63 games that year and they won 57 straight. And I don't know what their actual final record was, but they had lost some early in the year. And so LSU Shreveport has not lost a game since May 16th, 2024.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be like a year and a half by the time they return to the field when they can like keep this up. But and so their winning streak from their first win to their last win, to the 59th win, spanned 127 days. Their first win was a 17-1 victory over McPherson. They scored 10 or more runs in 35 out of their 59 games.
Yeah, that happened in the World Series too.
Yeah, in 3 of their games, right? They scored 10 or more.
Yes. Yeah, they dominated, and they dominated Southeastern in that first matchup too, where it was a 7-inning game, Mercy Rule. Isaac Rhode. Well, let's talk about Isaac Rhode first. Yeah. MVP of the entire tournament. He had 10 Ks in that game, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was dominant the entire tournament. Actually, his first game, he kind of struggled. He told me that this park is Harris Field is smaller than the field back at home that he's used to. So he gave up 2 home runs when all season he gave up 3 home runs. So he almost tied his season total of home runs given up. But yeah, just dominant performance from Isaac Rhode, and the bats just could not miss, really, especially going into that final game, the World Series championship game. After about the 4th inning, 5th inning, they were just smacking the ball like crazy.
Well, they walked into this game with or they ended the season rather. The Pilots did with a 361 team batting average. And then Josh Gibson, their third baseman, he entered the World Series with a 440 average, left with a 439, but nonetheless, he kept it. He stacked like 20 doubles over the course of the year, 5 triples, 8 home runs. Definitely a great player for them. And then Ryan Davenport, all-tournament guy. Yeah, they had several guys named to the all-tournament team. Jose Solorn picked up the Gold Glove, all-tournament Gold Glove, with some great plays. Vanford Reed also made some great plays at second base. And so defensively, they backed up their pitchers. Offensively, they could really hit. But also, it was interesting how they weren't like the heaviest hitters. Like Austin Gom was their leading home run hitter with 11 bombs on the year. They could still definitely hit the home run. Josh Gibson had 8 of them. But their offense was mostly defined by just keeping the line moving. A lot of extra base hits. They were fast. They stretched. Georgia Gwinnett was a super fast offense. Obviously, we saw them hit a ball and stretch a single into a double with just their speed. But Shreveport did that as well. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of the mark of these, the really effective offenses, is they were taking every opportunity they could, claiming every inch, every base, and it was just impressive.
They played some small ball too. They bunted a few times. I mean, if they didn't bunt in that second game, or third game that they played, second game?
International, yeah. It was Diego Aragon who laid down the bunt, which gave them the go-ahead run. It was 3-3. I forget what inning it was, but Diego Aragon, their catcher, laid down this amazing bunt. Made his way to first, and then they scored the winning run, the would-be winning run at 4-3 eventually, yeah. And then of course they won the game 6-3. And so early in the tournament against Hope, the first time they faced Hope International for their, I believe, 55th straight win, and so 56th straight win, excuse me. And so that was cool to see. And just the fact that just talking to their coach, Brad Neffendorf, the Pilots, from his vantage point, had struggled with bunting. That's something they had just not done really well with over the course of the year. And then when they needed to the most in, the NAIA World Series, they laid down not just one, but 3 or 4 really significant bunts, which led to some great runs for them. And, it wasn't always smooth sailing. They were down by 4 runs in the championship game against Southeastern.
Yeah, we thought Southeastern was going to win that game for a while. Yeah. And then it went back and forth after, I think, the 3rd inning. It was 7-5 or 7-6. And then really in the 6th inning, LSU Shreveport exploded, right? I mean, they just hit 2 solo home runs and then just kept getting on base and scoring. And that's when they really took the lead and took hold of the game, was in that 6th inning.
They entered that inning down by 1. They left up by 3. And then they poured on 3 more runs and won 13-7. And their pitching, they brought in their reliever, Kenny. Mm-hmm. I forget his last name.
Schechter.
Yeah, there we go. Kenneth Schlechter, who was just fantastic for them. He delivered a string of 1, 2, 3 innings. And then they brought in the series MVP, Isaac Rhode, who threw 5 pitches, including a strikeout. Literally 5 pitches, including and 3 of those were for a strikeout. And then the other 2 were for outs. It's the most efficient outing possible, pretty much.
Let's talk about Southeastern. They really, the thing is I talked to their coach, and I talked to Gabe Grinder, their head coach, and then also Alfonso Villalobos after the game. And they said that, this is what Alfonso said. He said, nobody even expected us to be here. They said, we're the 11th ranked team at that time before the World Series, and nobody thought we'd be in the World Series or even contend at all. And they did, and then he said we really went punch for punch for them for a while. And then he said at the end of the interview, which was interesting, is we lost to a literally unbeatable team. They obviously are unbeatable. They went 59-0. There's no shame in losing this game. And I thought that was a great way to look at that because you lost to history, you lost to a literally undefeated team, and you put up a good fight for most of the game as well.
Totally. And Southeastern, like, there's two like banger wins over Georgia Gwinnett. One like a 2-1, just absolute classic, where you had Aaron Robertson, a Central Washington transfer from Everett, Washington. Shout out Everett. Throw 128 pitches. Like, that was kind of insane. That's college baseball for you. The guys are going to go all out. And he threw 128 pitches, 9-inning complete game, allowed 1 run. And then Southeastern beats Gwinnett the first time 2-1. And then facing elimination, Southeastern beat Gwinnett like 16-6. They run ruled them to clinch their way to the final game. And so, and then, you know, they were up against, they would have had to beat Shreveport not once, but twice to claim the championship. But just playing spoiler would have been enough, and they almost did it. But they were just kind of out of pitching at that point.
Gabe Grider said that too. He said, like, I said, what do you want to do to improve your team next season? He says, well, we need more pitching, man. Obviously, look at how we performed today. We don't have enough arms, and that's something that they're going to build on for next season. Southeastern is a team that competes every year. They've been here for 7 straight years, just like Georgia Gwinnett. So yeah, that's a team that will be back and maybe back for more glory next season.
Totally, and it's impressive. Like, it's a new regime, a new leadership. Obviously, this is Greg Grider's first year, and he only returned 7 players from last year's roster, and then first brought in a bunch of transfers. Some of those players who left, Kobe Reeves, Shreveport's third starting pitcher. He was at Southeastern last year. And so, of course, that transfer decision worked out pretty well for him. He was kind of funny. He was like, you know, obviously I love him, but I want them to lose. So that was funny. That, you know, raw honesty, of course you're going to compete. But, I mean, it was just awesome. The World Series is a spectacular thing. Obviously, I can imagine how locally it's even better when LC is there.
I think we should talk about high school track.
We're wrapping up our high school sports season. This past weekend was state for Washington State track and field. The state tournaments are all across the state. And Garfield Palousa's Kyra Brantner is just a dominant, amazing track athlete. She won 3 state titles and set 2 state records for the 100 meter and the triple jump.
Wow, I mean, Kyra Brantner's, again, like you said, dominant athlete. Triple jump, 36 feet, 2 inches. And 36 feet 2 3/4 inches. The 100 meter dash, she had 12.38 seconds, and then the 200 she had 25.57. So she had, was that 4 state titles or 3 state titles?
4 state titles over the weekend.
Wow.
And then 3 in one day.
Just dominance, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, just a pure athlete there.
Yeah. So that was super cool. And then Asotan's Hannah Appleford, she in the shot put, her toss went 39 feet and 7 inches, and she claimed the 2B shot put crown for the 2nd straight year. Thanks so much for listening to the Lewiston Tribune the Final Whistle, Lewiston Tribune Sports Podcast. World Series was fun. I guess Trevor it's the summer now, so definitely the pace is a little different, but we still got some stuff brewing. I guess what can readers look forward to from the Lewiston Tribune going into the summer?
Definitely, we have features coming up. We're going to write some features about different athletes and different teams that won the state titles. And yeah, just continued sports content. We're going to cover WSU and Idaho are coming up again in about 2 months or maybe a month or so. Early August is really what's going to be starting. So in about I guess 2 months. Yeah. So always keep track of that stuff. And yeah, we're gonna have a good summer. It's gonna be definitely slower pace than I'm used to. I came in at a pretty busy time, but it's gonna be a good time with some good writing and some good stories to read.
Awesome. So we can't wait to bring that to you. Thanks so much for tuning in today. And be sure, obviously, to like and subscribe on YouTube, listen on Spotify and Apple, and read and listen at lmtribune.com. And so for Trevor Junt, I'm Sam Taylor. Thanks so much for listening.